I think I was the first to answer that, actually, Richard.
Yeah, you were.
Okay, all right.
Before we move on?
Yes. All right.
Before we move on?
Mhm.
They're muting it back there.
Come on,
Making
Zach.
sure I don't talk out of turn. So before we move on, I'd just like to address, this is a very complicated issue. This is an issue that's plays into school funding. I think part of the reason that valuations are going up is pressure from the state, because whenever valuations go up, most of our schools have their tax rate set by election, and it's not as variable as our cities and counties' budgets are, or the way we set taxes. And so whenever the valuations go up, the level of taxes you pay automatically goes up. It's not a matter of you can go to your school board or whatever and expect them to decrease it based on the effective rate. I think the state is artificially imposing pressure upon our appraisal district to raise the property taxes, or to raise the valuations, to lower their percentage, because it's part of the Robin Hood system of school funding. They get to lower their percentage that they put into our school funding if the local percentage goes up. And so I think this is all, part of the reason we're all having this big problem is because the pressure that the state is putting on appraisal districts to raise your valuations. They get audited and they get pressured to put it. Recently we had, they were told to revalue Ranger, I think it was last year or the year before, and increase their valuations about 20%. And everybody from Ranger knows that's wrong. So this is a very complicated issue. School taxes play into a huge part of this. That affects everybody because school taxes make up about 60% of your total tax bill. And I do want to work with our state rep to help alleviate this problem.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Mr. King, you'll be the first response on this question. There has been much talk about unfunded mandates, state mandates, pushing county expenditures upward. Is that a valid argument? And if so, what do you plan to do on behalf of Eastland County taxpayers to push back against such mandates?
Thank you for that question. Unfunded mandates is a huge problem. This is part of the way that, again, the state gets to alleviate the burden on their budget and push it onto the counties. Whenever they make rules in Austin, they've done it with cities, they've done it with counties, they've done it with school districts. Imposing mandates that force locally us to raise taxes to make up for budget priorities that they have in Austin that we may not necessarily have in Eastland County, Texas. And so I've already spoken to our state rep about it. He was at our Rotary Club in Cisco not too long ago. I addressed him several times about this, and we plan on taking this to Austin. In fact, our state rep has already introduced a bill, I believe last session, to remove state unfunded mandates from school districts, and I want him to apply the same rules to cities and counties as well.
Yes, I agree with Mr. King on that. There are a lot of unfunded mandates that are not necessary. Pretty much, I will do the same as well. I will go to Austin. I will do that with property tax reform as well. Plan on, if I am honored enough to be elected your next county judge, I will be spending some time in Austin, working with our state representative and our state senator, because a lot of these issues are very important and they play into how our money's spent and the welfare of our county.
As I touched on previously, the county is responsible for a huge amount of unfunded, mandated state and federal mandates. I mentioned before the judicial system, indigent defense, court-appointed attorneys and child protective service cases. There's mandates as far as one of the newest ones that came in just recently into effect. It was statewide, but different counties were required to do it at different times. It's part of the judicial process. It's called e-filing. It's supposed to make everything simpler, and it's supposed to get rid of a lot of paper in the district clerk's offices and county clerk's office. Unfortunately, implementing that program costs a lot of money and training. Eventually, it's probably going to save money, but that's one cost that the county's responsible for. As mentioned earlier, there's the mandate by the federal government of the electronic voting. There was provisions that helped out with that, but once again, some of the other mandates, as I mentioned before, the county jail. The county, if someone's arrested on a technical violation for a blue warrant, not saying that they committed any crime in the county, but if they're arrested on a blue warrant in Eastland County, the Sheriff's Department has to jail them until they can have a hearing on that blue warrant. That costs the county money. Housing an inmate costs a lot of money. There's certain ways to alleviate that by getting inmates out of jail quicker. So that's one area I would look at. But once again, a lot of this is going to have to do with trying to get changes done through the legislature. Thank you very much.
I wasn't aware of the problem that, how this affects schools. I know we've got at least one elected school board member here tonight. Someone came to Cisco Rotary Club about a year ago, the superintendent, and explained to us how the state has a vested interest in the appraisal values. Here's what happens, folks. The state tells the appraisal district, we want you to push this up so many percentage points, and they don't really care if it's based on real estate comps. As a real estate broker, I know what that is. They don't say it's based on something. They just say you're going to push this up. And if you're in a school district, maybe I'll give amen back over here in this corner, then they take that amount of funding away from our school districts. The problem is the state will not fund schools at the level that they should be funding it. They keep pushing more and more on us at the county and city level. The appraisal values go up, the school board has to work with less. I don't know how you guys balance the school budget when the state says we're going to increase the tax appraisal value by 10%, and yet they fund the schools by 10% less. It hurts all of us. We all are living in some school district within Eastland County, and yet the state tells us, they mandate it out and say the appraisal values are going to go up because they're up somewhere else. They're going to go up in Eastland County, and then we've got to basically eat the bullet on it, and the schools have to take an even bigger bite of the bullet because their values, their amount of support from the state goes down. If I'm wrong on that, I stand to be corrected, but that's what a school superintendent told us about a year ago. I did not realize that. I'm a county official, not a school official, but it seems crazy to us, to me, and it should seem crazy to you, that the state takes that money away from the school board, district to operate with when they increase the appraisal values. That's quite a bit of our problem, along with the other unfunded mandates that I mentioned here previously. Thank you.
Any rebuttals or extra comments? Okay, Ms. Slaughter, this question you'll be the first responder to. What strategies do you plan to implement to increase the efficiency and cost effectiveness of county government?
Okay, once again, we're going to go back to I would like to see implemented the zero-based budgeting. I believe that is like I said, since we have currently operated on a reoccurring budget system for multiple years, the zero-based budgeting system, like I said in my opening statement, will take and we'll start from zero. Therefore, if we find if there's anything in our budget that is obsolete, don't use anymore. Somebody mentioned something about that there were, a lot of supplies that were off somewhere. You'd be surprised at how quickly that adds up. I've done it with a multi-million-dollar oil and gas company on a private level Therefore, I know it can be done. It's not gonna be easy, but I believe, like I said, as taxpayers, less government and smaller taxes. So that's where I would like to start in seeing about making our county government work in a little bit more of an efficient way. This also goes, I don't think I've stated this before, with the commissioner being the county judge, you have to work closely with the commissioners, and you have to work very closely with the department heads, because those people are the ones that y'all, as the citizens, have elected to that position. They know what they need in that department. They know what they have to have. They know what they need to have to run efficiently and do their job in the manner in which they were elected to do. Thank you.
Well, as anyone knows that's owned a business or worked for a big company, there's always ways that you can cut the budget, make things more efficient. I think the whole key to all of this, and what I would bring as county judge, is you've got to sit down with the commissioner's court, go out, talk to the different departments where the budget's going. Sit down with the sheriff's department, sit down with the volunteer fire departments, sit down with EMS, sit down with all these different agencies. Figure out where you can best utilize the money that's going to them. Like I said, there's in any business or any organization, there's ways to find areas that can be cut back but still be doing an efficient and good job for whatever department it is. Roads and bridges, I mean, it goes all the way down the line. Just every department needs to be set down, and it needs to be a countywide remedy. It's not, there's not just going to be one area that you're going to focus on. You need to look at all of it. And that's what I would try to do, is sit down with all the individuals involved and commissioners court and see what we could do to get the most bang out of our buck. Thank you.
Would you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sir. What strategies do you plan to implement to increase the efficiency and cost effectiveness of county government?
Well, I think that we have increased the cost effectiveness of the budget of the county government. Here's some examples that we've taken, that we've done in the past few years. We've improved the SO fleet. We add a new vehicle, about one or two every year. We are now running pickups and SUVs instead of cars. We've discovered that when you run a Crown Vic or a Dodge Charger up and down 700 miles of county road, after about 3 years it's done, and when you get a trade-in value on it, it's worth almost nothing. We discovered if you have a pickup or an SUV, it's worth a lot more after 2 or 3 years. We started doing that, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. That seems to have increased our fleet life. We've got a pretty big fleet. We've also added some new equipment in the road and bridge. We've added, and we don't add one for each precinct. Several years ago, we started making things more cost effective by adding one. If we need one big machine, like we added what's called an asphalt zipper about 7 or 8 years ago, this is, imagine a rototiller on steroids. It goes out and chews up the road, repurposes it back into something that can be used. It's a very expensive machine. We have one for the county, but it now makes the roads a lot better. We can go out where we put down the old asphalt years ago, grind that back up into something that's usable, wet it, pack it, shape it, and it becomes a good usable road again. We've got a new brush chipper that we added about 3 years ago when the big fire went through in 2006 in the Carbon area, almost took out the city of Carbon. All those trees are dead down there now, and they're falling off in the right of way or over into the road itself. We go through there and chip all that up so it doesn't create an issue for us. We've discovered that the new equipment decreases the downtime. We've got a warranty on the equipment. And if you're in the heavy equipment operation, you know that if you ready to go out and do a job and the machine is down, like on some of our existing or previously existing maintainers, they were 20 to 30 years old. We've added very slowly 1 or 2 machines as we go along to make our road and bridge system better. Does it cost money? Well, yeah, it does cost money, but we're not buying 4 of them, we're buying 1 of them. We don't buy the sheriff's vehicle fleet completely over new every year. Sometimes we even take the older vehicles that come out of the SO fleet and put those down in the commissioner's fleet to give him a pickup or to give his road hands a pickup. We've discovered it adds safety. One of our leading causes for injuries and beyond the physical pain and suffering, workers' comp prices are driven up by experience, is somebody getting off and on a maintainer. If you've got a new machine, you've got an operator that knows how to run that, they're less likely to get hurt. I think those are some strategies that we have used. We're going to continue to use that for at least the next, 11 months and 2 weeks. We'll go through another budget cycle this summer. We try to make this operate as efficiently as possible. And I guess I'm going to keep singing this, but government does cost money. And efficient government, you've got to fund it properly. And I think that we do with some cost-saving benefits. Thank you.
Well, I want to echo a couple of different comments up here. I applaud Judge Fields for sharing resources. And speaking to a previous county judge, that was a problem that he dealt with. A lot of times commissioners everybody wants their own toys, and they don't want to share. And that's a real problem that you deal with whenever you're working with elected officials governing their own departments, and nobody wants to share the resources that are necessary for working on the road. So I applaud Judge Fields for already working on that. And we've also already talked about unfunded mandates and fighting against that culture in Austin. I really like Teresa's idea of zero-based budgeting. I've already talked to an accountant here about that issue and ways that we can examine the budgets and save money by not playing into a systemic type of increase or an automatic increase that, and I know they don't automatically increase, but a lot of things just get overlooked whenever you don't go back and build from the ground up. I think we need to examine each department and find out if there's overstaffing. What staffing may have been appropriate last year or 2 years ago may not be appropriate now. We need to examine their resources and find out are things being duplicated unnecessarily. And we have to make sure that we instill a culture in our county government with every elected official, with every office, that the money that we spend, the money that the county sends to each department through their budget is not their money. It's y'all's money. It's the taxpayer money. And we need to make sure that every elected official remembers that so that they spend it as wise as possible.
I'd like to add another one of my planks is that I vow to reduce my salary if I were elected. Our current judge makes over $100,000 a year. Not saying you're not worth it. I just feel like I have looked over the budget multiple times, and I've seen what some of the assistants, some of the clerks, some of the people that do the day-to-day work, you know, what their salaries are. They're bringing in $26,000 a year. I vow to bring mine down to $75,000. Now, there is a caveat to that. There is a state supplement that is $25,200 that is supplied by the state. If you do 40% of, you hear 40% of, like several people have mentioned, probate, guardianship, criminal class A and B cases. If that is not done, then my income would be, my salary would be reduced down to 50%. But I'm putting my money where my mouth is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments?
May I have a chance to rebut?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What Ms. Slaughter is referencing is, I'm not sure it's workable. If she wants to reduce the salary, that's something she can try. There is some government code that prevents the Commissioner's Court from reducing her salary. If she decides that she doesn't want to hear 40% of her duties as a judicial judge that hears county court business, then I'm not sure who's going to pick up the slack on 850 criminal cases a year and 120 or so probate cases and supervise 40-something guardianships every year. There are only 2 judges in Eastland County that have that original jurisdiction. It's the county judge and the district judge. And I don't think Judge Harrod's going to be real happy about picking up another 1,000 or so cases each year, just so that you can send back $25,000 to the state. It won't be a benefit to the county taxpayers. And I'm real sure that the state is going to go into the state's fund somewhere, and we will never see that again. That judicial part of being county judge is something that's extremely important. It keeps the caseload off the district judge, and it allows us to have a very accessible, efficient county court system. Thank you. Rebuttal to the rebuttal?
Am I able to rebuttal?
No.
Just for clarification?
No, not according to
Okay.
rules we set out at the first.
You can bring it up later. Final
Okay.
say.
Okay, Mr. Lewallen will have first response on this. In county facilities, will you protect the privacy and safety of women and children by maintaining restrooms, bathrooms, and changing rooms that correspond to the person's sex apparent at birth?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, sir.
I wasn't sure I heard it.
Okay. In other words, transgender bathrooms, what we're talking about. In county facilities, will you protect the privacy and safety of women and children by maintaining restrooms, bathrooms, and changing rooms that correspond to the person's sex apparent at birth?
Well, I mean, that's a hot issue right now, but my personal feelings on that is as far as transgender individuals utilizing the same facilities as other people, I think it needs to be the way you were born, that's the bathroom you need to use. I think there's, especially where children are involved, I think it's important as a county judge or as any individual to protect the safety of our children. Thank you.
Yes, we
The question was, if I remember this, the privacy about the sex of somebody's, are you going to just read the question?
In county facilities, will you protect the privacy and safety of women and children by maintaining restrooms and bathrooms and changing rooms that correspond to the person's sex apparent at birth?
This may be the shortest answer you're going to get from me tonight. Yes, we will. Yes, absolutely. Okay, I've got to elongate a little bit. The courthouse now has men's and women's rooms throughout the courthouse, throughout the annex, which are the 2 buildings that I basically have responsibility for because I also supervise the custodial staff. It freaks me out a little bit to walk into, to go into a bathroom that has men and women on the bathroom. Because you don't know, you're going to embarrass somebody going in there. I'm the father of 2 daughters. I don't want that craziness where you're not comfortable going in. I certainly don't want some sex deviant going in there where my daughters are going to the bathroom. It's just crazy. It's crazy. So yes, Richard, I will protect the privacy of the sex for the bathrooms, as we've done for the courthouse is 1928, it's 90 years old. I don't guess it's ever had any kind of weirdness about that. If you've got a gender issue, do the best you can, but we're not going to change up Eastland County Courthouse and annex for that.
Okay, I'm a pastor, so I shouldn't have to say this, but in today's culture, you do, because pastors disagree on this issue. I agree with our current school administration in Cisco that whenever the last president, President Obama, tried to enforce this Title IX dictates on our local school systems, that we will build an individual bathroom for every person before we let that happen. We're not going to allow men and women to just use whatever bathroom they want to use. We'll build an individual locking bathroom for one person only before we let that happen.
Yes, plain and simple. Cisco, that did come up in Cisco, and there is a unisex bathroom that is used as an alternative. But yes, I wholeheartedly protect. I've got a 14-year-old granddaughter, and I do not want someone who feels like they feel like a man today. They feel like a woman to go in there and be with her. Thank you.